This is Chris, the Idaho Painter, here on Paint Live TV. Today's video is how to get a professional look when painting or staining a fence. I'm going to give you a comprehensive guide on what we do, the process we go through to get a professional look when it comes to staining or painting a fence. I'm going to walk you through the power washing process. Typically here in Idaho, where I come from, the fences, the majority of them, probably 99% of them, are rough sawn cedar. They're very rough, so when you watch us power washing these fences, just keep that in mind. These aren't smooth fences, and we're not tearing up the wood on the fence. We're going to show you how to power wash it, and then we're going to show you the proper method, or actually the method that we go about when it comes to staining a fence and getting it looking really, really good, and not like you sprayed it with a weed sprayer. So I'm going to walk you through that whole process. So stay tuned to this video if you want an amazing looking fence. This is the season. Winter's gone, summer's here. It's time to do your fence. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you hit the subscribe button and not the notification bell, it doesn't do anything. That notification bell, when you subscribe, it just sends you an email every time I come out with a new video. It's free, simple, and easy to do. Click. And then also, down in the video description below, typically we always put the tools and accessories we're using in these videos right down in that video description. So we'll give you an idea of what we're using down there. If you want to click on the links to go see more about those tools, they're down there. If you have any questions or comments about this video, leave it down in the comment section below. We love to hear what you're doing. If you have any questions about what we're doing, just leave them down below. Let's get on with the video. Staining a fence. So I'm staining this fence here, and I'm going to show you some of the tools and accessories I use to stain a fence and get professional results. First thing is, I got a bucket and a stain brush. I always use a stain brush to back brush. Back brushing is very important when it comes to getting professional results staining a fence. In order to make the process fast, I like to use an airless sprayer because that's getting the stain on very quick instead of having to dip in a brush or dip a brush in a bucket and then put it on. Using an airless sprayer, simply amazing and fast. I'm using a Titan HEA tip, which is a high efficiency airless tip, and it is low overspray. We're going to be running around 800 to 1000 psi, and the Titan HEA tips are the best when it comes to cut and overspray doing fences. I like wearing gloves, so I got gloves, and I want to get any stain on my hands. If you're going to be doing any spraying, it's good to have a respirator also and be wearing a respirator. So the staining process, I'm going to start showing you what it looks like. It's very important to have somebody apply the stain with an airless sprayer and then somebody right behind them back brushing the stain. The whole back brushing process is actually pushing the stain deep into the pores of the fence. This is a rough sawn cedar fence, and it's going to make it last a lot longer, and then you're not going to have all the striping or lap marks you typically see in a lot of the fences around the neighborhoods that do-it-yourselfers spray with like weed sprayers and stuff like that. To get professional results, you got to put a whole lot of product on. Well, I'm typically using 2 to 3 times more than most do-it-yourselfers would. So you're putting a lot of product on, and somebody is right behind you back brushing it while it's really, really wet. If it's soaking in really fast and there's nothing to back brush for the back brusher, the back brushing process isn't really helping or doing anything. So you definitely want to be putting on a lot of product and somebody back brushing it. If there's nothing to back brush, the back brusher needs to tell the sprayer, hey, apply more product. This fence has been up for a couple weeks. It's had enough time to dry now. It's been over 100 degrees. You want to make sure your fence is nice and dry before staining it. If you're using an oil-based stain, that's very critical. So I got everything set up here. We're going to begin the process right now. I got my helper, my daughter Afton's going to be helping out. One of us is going to be doing the spraying, one's going to be doing the back brushing, and we'll show you what it looks like. So I got my Titan 440 pump I'm going to be spraying with right here, and this is an oil-based stain that I'm using. I really hate oil-based products, but that's what you're using today. And what's really convenient about the smaller pumps is I can stick it right down into my 5 without having to take the lid off my 5, and I'm good to go. I'm golden. So I'm going to set this thing up. I'm going to get this thing running around 800 to 1000 psi, and we'll begin spraying and back brushing here. I'm using a Titan HEA 515 tip. So that is the HEA's the high efficiency airless tips.
So you have to run those tips at low pressure or they finger really bad or don't give a good spray pattern. But the nice thing about it is they're really great for doing fences because of the little amount of overspray they produce. So got everything ready to go. We'll test this out. It's good to go here. I'm gonna get my respirator on, get a few other things set up, and we'll get going. So as we're just cruising right along here, give you some tips and tricks. If you're watching the video, the B-roll footage that we're showing you, you can see me spraying and just absolutely saturating this fence. You know, you can see where the fence is really dry, and after we sprayed and back brush it, if I need more on the dry spots, we just spray more and continue back brushing it until it gets a nice, even, saturated look like it looks right here, and you're not having any lap marks, but you're seeing it's just the fence is absolutely saturated. This acts a lot different than a water-based stain. Like a water-based stain, you have to back brush a lot quicker because the water product soaks in really quick, evaporates really fast, and dries really fast, where an oil-based product like this does not dry fast at all, so you have a lot more working time. So I can spray it, step back, let some of the overspray in the air, drift away, and then step forward and begin back brushing it. We've had to improvise a little bit because of this really thin oil product we're using. I kind of switched out tips. I went to a fine finish tip, dropped down, but then it wasn't putting out enough product. It would take me, you could actually brush it faster than you can use a fine finish tip. So I switched back to the HEA 515 tip, and that's working really well. And I've got the pressure cut down to probably around 500-600 PSI. Over here, we'll mask off the house right here with paper masking, and then we won't spray too close to the house. We don't want to get any overspray on the house, so we'll just hand do a lot of that stuff. But it's just coming right along. It's pretty saturated. Some of these dry spots here, we'll just go back with our bucket, put some in the bucket, and then we'll take and hit some of those dry spots one more time. But it's getting that nice weathered wood look, saturated look. You'll see when I'm spraying it on there, it's like it's just running everywhere. I'm not concerned about runs because I'm going to be back brushing all those runs out. I'm just wanting to get a lot of product on and saturate it. You can see how the spraying versus dipping it in, I'm at least 3 times faster, spraying it and back brushing it versus if I was just brushing it out of a bucket. I know people ask me, why not use a roller? If you use a roller, it drips. When you're rolling, it pushes it off and runs off the roller, really bad. So we don't like using rollers. We like using stain brushes. This stain brush is a brand new one. That one's been used and it's a little bit stiffer. I like a used one because it's stiffer on a rough sawn cedar fence like this. But we're cruising right along and it's looking really good. Once again, this is an oil-based product and we typically don't use oil-based products. Very, very rare. The water-based technology nowadays is extremely advanced and we use a polyurethanized water-based coating, but this is an experiment we're doing on a fence here to see how this product holds up an oil-based product. One of the drawbacks to oil-based, if there's any type of wind or if the humidity is high, the oil could lift up in the air and carry for long distances, and that's something you always want to be concerned about. We went to water-based coatings because we don't want to have to worry about those overspray concerns and the oil carrying down the road onto cars down the road and stuff like that. This is a neighborhood. The houses are extremely far away. There's no cars, nothing liable here for overspray, but that's something you definitely want to consider when using oil-based products. And also trying to do the slats. This fence has gaps right here, so you're shooting product through the gap. If you can watch, I'm trying to stay really close to the fence so I'm not far back, so it's not shooting a ton through those gaps and stuff, but it's dropping. I know adding oil to the wood is adding something good to the wood, but it's just simply not worth the liability and the overspray that can carry. And unfortunately, I started this job with oil. I wish I hadn't, but I'm here and I got to finish it up with oil or the fence is not going to match. So on this side of the fence, I've just took a rake, just a regular rake. I've raked the rocks away from the fence so I don't get any overspray on the rocks. And then once we spray the fence, we'll just move those rocks right back. That way I don't have to try to shield it and keep it off the rocks. Just a little bit easier way. We just carry a rake in our vehicle to rake them back, and that's it.
This is Chris in Boise. In this video, we're going to show you how to power wash a fence. We got a fence here in the background that's got a lot of mildew on it. What we need to do is we need to get rid of a lot of that black mildew off the fence. So we're going to be using a power washer with a 4,000 PSI to actually strip and get a lot of that old wood off the fence and get a lot of that discoloration before we actually put our stain on it. And it gives gives the fence a lot better look if you really strip a lot of that wood off. We're using a 4,000 psi MITM power washer with a rotating nozzle. And this rotating nozzle, it actually rotates and spins, and it actually will strip and tear wood off extremely fast versus using just a flat, straight nozzle or a round nozzle. And over here we got the power washer. We'll show you how to start it up. We got the MITM power washer. Come over here and show them a good view of the start. So this power washer, it has a gas valve. It's got a choke valve, and then an on-off button right here, and we're going to want to turn this on button to the on position. The power washer is cold right now, so we're going to want to turn the choke on, and then we're going to make sure the gas is on, and then I'm going to pull start it. The thing will start up really quickly, and then we'll turn the choke off. And we're going to be working, one pick at a time. You're going to be going up and down one picket. You got to go really slowly to actually strip the wood off. What you don't want to do is run your power washer and stripper crossways on the fence, because if you go crossways on the fence, it's actually going to make a mark on the fence that won't go away when you actually stain the fence. So you always want to go with the grain on the fence and strip with the grain and never across the grain, and strip with the pickets. So you're going one picket at a time, and it just takes time. You got to go slow. And now we'll start it up and we'll show you the process. Okay, go ahead.
Hang on.
Once the power washer is started, it's pretty common for there to be actually air in the line, because when you turn the water on, there's air in the water hose, and sometimes it's difficult for the pump to prime itself. So once the power washer is started, you want to take off the tip of the nozzle, or the tip of the gun, and then Eric's pulling that tip off. Then you're going to want to run some water through it. The power washer would actually be running at this point in time, and then you'll just run water through the gun without the tip on it, and that actually runs a high volume of water through it, and it's actually running all the air out of the pump itself, and it helps the pump prime itself. And then you'll take and put the tip back on. Power washer is still running at this point in time, and then you can start running it after that. And what happens is, if you don't go through this process after you start it, you'll be power washing, and then all of a sudden you'll start to lose pressure, and it'll pulsate and come on and off and come on and off. The pressure will go up and down, and it's trying to prime itself. So make sure you take the tip off, run some water through it for about 30 seconds, put the tip back on, and then continue going. Here we're going to be spraying the semi-transparent on the fence here, and this is the non-2x4 side. We're just going to be going up and down on the pickets themselves, and you don't want to spray it crossways. It'll leave lap marks going crossways. You want to make sure you go up and down with the pickets. And the posts are going to be an accent color, so I don't need to spray the posts. Using a 515 tip doing this fence because the fence is extremely dry, and I'll actually spray some, and then I'm going to back brush what I've sprayed to make sure it gets rid of any lap marks or any runs, and it helps it absorb into the pores more. And I'll do about 2-foot sections and then continue on. I'm using a Sherwin-Williams stain brush. This is a 6-inch stain brush, and this works really good for doing fences and stuff. The brushes last a long time. So I just keep working my way down the line. Like that, and the fence will be completely saturated and look brand new once it's done. So we're staining this fence here, and we're working on the posts here. The posts are going to be different color than the pickets themselves, and we're using a Sherwin-Williams solid color woodscapes stain, and the color's Sequoia color 3015, and we're just using a 4-inch nap. I'm also using a China bristle brush, 2.5-inch angled sash brush, so we can easily cut in the edges. And we're just going along and just rolling and staining the post now. Rolling and staining the post gives a nice accent, makes it look pretty nice. We've already stained these with the semi-transparent stain, and so that's all dry now. Now we're doing the post. In this video we're going to show you how to power wash a fence to get it ready to stain the fence. This is a part 2 video. We'll show you in this video how to actually do the power washing portion, or this is part 1. In part 2 we'll actually show you how to do the staining portion. Here we're going to be using to power wash this fence. We got a DeWalt power washer. It's 4,200 psi, 4 gallons a minute. You definitely want a power washer that's going to have enough psi that's actually going to strip the dead wood and the grain and off the fence and any type of old stain that's on the fence to get it prepped properly to actually stain it. In this video we're actually using a brass rotating nozzle that can actually handle 4,200 psi. It's important to have a hose, handle, and nozzle that will actually handle the psi of the power washer you're using. A power washer that has only a couple thousand psi wouldn't be enough to actually strip the dead wood off the fence. So we got a large power washer, we've got the rotating brass nozzle, and we're going to show you how to do the fence now. And in the fence, what we're actually going to be doing, we're going to be power washing, and you want to actually go from picket to picket. You never want to go across the fence, because if you go across the fence, across the grain, you'll actually see those marks when you stain it, regardless how much stain you put on. So we do picket to picket, and then we're going to go, these parts of the fence go crossways, so we'll go crossways the last portion after we do the picket. So we'll show you how to do this panel right here real quick. We're going to get our power washer, put it on. We've already warmed it up so we don't need to choke it. And we're getting ready to can see in power washing that panel, I get really close and go really slow to actually strip off, you know, some of the wood, the old wood, grade wood on the fence. You don't want to get too close that you actually damage the fence itself, but you got to get close enough and go slow enough to strip the wood. And then once I was done with the panel, you got to stand back and just rinse it off. But if I was going crossways rinsing it off, but I was standing back pretty far, so I wasn't going to make any cross marks in the panel. That's how you do the power washing to get your fence prepped and ready to stain.
This is Chris, the Idaho Painter. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to properly stain a fence. And we got a fence right here. We power washed it a few days ago, and we're using a water-based solid color stain to stain this fence. And I'm using an airless sprayer and a brush to spray and back brush this fence. I'm going to show you that process, how we go about doing this to make it look like a professional did it, make it look beautiful and brand new again. So stay tuned. So like I said, we got this fence power washed. We power washed it a few days ago, and now we're staining it. And it doesn't have to be 100% thoroughly dry because we're using a water-based stain. So we're doing the staining process now, and I've got an airless sprayer set up over there with my solid color stain, and I'm using a airless sprayer right here. I'm using a 515 tip and using about an 18-inch to 20-inch gun extension right here that'll keep me away from the fence and not absorbing as much overspray and dust that's flying in the air. And it makes it a lot easier so I can reach to the bottom of the fence and the top of the fence. And I'm using a nice stain brush, stiff bristle brush stain brush, and the back brushing while you're staining it, while it's saturated, is extremely important to give it that professional look and a nice, good, even, solid color. Spraying it, if you don't back brush it, it'll look really dry. It'll show lap marks all over the place and just doesn't look really good. So I'm going to start this process. I've been working my way right along here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to be doing this panel right here, and I'm going to be spraying just a short section, and I actually saturate those pickets a lot with stain. I get a lot of stain on there, so I have something to actually back brush. If it's too dry and you're not putting enough stain on there, you won't have anything to back brush. So that's the trick, is to get enough stain on there. It's way better to get too much than not enough, but you'll start to get the feel of just how much you need to actually back brush it. And I control my overspray if it's a windy day by using a cardboard shield and shield holder. And these tools, all these tools I'm using, my spray gun, my brushes, cardboard shield holders, you can all find those videos or all those tools in my tool store, or you can check out my video description to purchase those tools too. But I'm gonna get spraying this and show you what it looks like. Couple more tips when you're actually spraying too. When I'm actually spraying, I'm not carrying my sprayer over the top of the pickets, and because I can actually just brush it, I come right a few inches to the top and then go back down, and that overlap keeps a nice little heavy spot right there that makes it so I can back brush the top of the picket. Because if I go over the top of the picket, I'm sending a lot of overspray up into the air to carry off in the wind. There's a little bit of wind today. And the bottom, I go just about to the bottom. Like, this is grass and dirt, so I don't care if I get any on the grass or dirt. If I was on rocks or anything like that, I just put cardboard shields down to protect it. But here, the grass is gonna get mowed, the dirt's gonna get messed up, and so you won't see it. But I'm just watch. I'm actually getting to the top and then going right back down. And then my back brushing process is what gets the actual top of the picket. If you're worried about stain getting through the edge or in between the pickets and going to the other side, if you spray at an angle, it'll minimize the amount of overspray going through the pickets, but it's not going to go very far. And if you had something really close to the fence, you'd have to be concerned about it, and then you'd just end up dropping plastic or a drop cloth on the other side. Or we actually sometimes have another person just hold the drop cloth on the other side of the fence if there's a house really close by or a shed or something we don't want to get overspray on. So I'm using a 515 tip. This is a Graco Rack X 515 tip, about an 18 to 20 inch gun extension, and then my stain brush, and this is a stiff bristle stain brush. I got the pressure, it's a really thin water-based stain, so the pressure doesn't have to be up too high. I got it around 1800 psi. The lower the pressure, the better, to help minimize the overspray. I do have videos on how to control overspray that you can go check out too at the end of this video. I do highly recommend wearing a respirator when you're doing this. Anytime you're using an airless sprayer, you'll typically see me not wearing one when I'm shooting my videos, because I have to talk on my videos, and it's a big inconvenience to try to talk and keep taking the respirator off. But I typically always wear a respirator when I'm actually spraying. That respirator is available in my tool store. Also, you can find it in the video description at the end of this video. So once again, one of the key things about spraying this is don't get too far ahead of yourself. Just do short sections, because if it's really hot outside or the sun's shining on the fence, the stain's going to dry really fast and they're not going to have anything to back brush. And the back brushing portion with your stain brush is extremely important to making this fence last a lot longer and look like a professional did it. So just do short sections, and when you get to the back brushing process, if there's not enough stain, just shoot a little bit more on there to wet it. Okay. So on this side of the fence, the sun is shining on this side of the fence. It's a lot warmer, so I gotta move a lot faster and put a little bit more stain on to make sure I have something to back brush. While spraying, I'm actually keeping my tip and guard probably about 6 to 8 inches from the fence, and then I'm shooting it at a slight angle, because there's a house. It's a little ways from here, but shooting it at a slight angle so it doesn't go straight through the pickets. So if you get in any situations where you need to control your overspray, like on the rocks, if there's not grass or something like rocks on the ground, you could just use a cardboard shield holder. And these are craft cardboard shield holders that we actually use them every single job, painting exteriors, doing the houses and fences. We're always using them. I can use it, it actually just adjusts easily. I can use it to control the overspray from going over the top. I can adjust it to the ground to keep the overspray from going on the grass. Really convenient thing to have. The cardboard shields are extremely cheap. We just get them from our local paint store, but you can also get the shield holder and the cardboard shield from my tool store. I do get asked quite often how soon that you can actually go back and stain your fence after you power wash it. And when you're power washing it and you're using a water-based stain, you can actually go stain. We do it quite often when we stain the fence the same day. And the fence will absorb the water. It actually dries fairly fast, but the fence isn't soaking wet because it absorbs a lot of the water. And by staining it the same day with a water-based coating, it makes the stain actually come out easier. It gives you a lot more working time to be able to go back and back brush it. If you're using an oil-based stain, which we very rarely do, you're gonna have to let that fence thoroughly dry, and I would let it dry for at least 3 to 4 days, even up to a week before you apply an oil-based stain to it. But that's one of the convenience about water-based stains, and I feel that they actually last a lot longer than the oil-based products now, so we're always using water-based stains.
Hey, just a quick reminder, don't forget, down in the comment section below, if you've got any questions or comments about painting or staining a fence, or really just anything you want to ask, leave it in the comment section below. We try to read and answer all those questions and comments. Don't forget, at the end of the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, both of them. They don't do anything if you don't do both. And if you want to purchase any of the tools or accessories, or want more information about the tools and accessories in this video, just check the video description below. But let's get back to the video, staining a fence.
Now we got this fence all power washed now. You can actually see the difference after it's been power washed. Over here, this side of the fence is not power washed, and this side of the fence is power washed. And it actually, using that turbo nozzle, makes your fence almost look brand new again. So now we're done power washing, and we're going to start the staining process. And to start that staining process, you're going to want a good quality stain brush. And then I got my airless sprayer set up with the stain. You're going to want mask off any place on the house where the fence is going to be meeting the house, so you don't get any overspray on the house. And then we're going to begin staining the fence. And staining the fence, I'm going to be staining it by myself. So what you're going to be doing is staining a section of fence, about a 3-foot section. Then you're going to back brush it with a good quality stain brush. You want a good thick stain brush, wide, that can cover a lot of surface at a lot of time, because usually typically there's a lot of fence to actually cover. Don't mind the annoying dog, but then stupid dog. So I'm going to get ready to start spraying this thing, and I'm going to be spraying 3-foot section and then back brushing it. If you try to do too much, the stain's going to dry too fast, and you won't be able to back brush it in and push it into the pores of the fence. Back brushing it is a key element to staining their fence to make it last a lot longer. So you're going to spray it to get it on. Spraying it helps you do a lot more fence at once versus just brushing it, because you can cover a lot more surface by spraying it and getting it on. And then you back brush it, put it in. That helps the quality of your stain job and making it last a lot longer. So here we go. This is the process. So I've taken a hand masker, and you can see I've masked off the house right here so I don't get any overspray on the house. If you don't have a lot of experience masking, you want to mask off a lot farther so you don't get any overspray. The last thing you want to do, especially on a house we just painted, you don't want to get any overspray on it. So don't got a lot of practice, do a lot of masking. Now I'm going to begin staining this fence. I'm going to show you that process. So I got my 4-inch stain brush, got my gun here, airless spray gun. Sprayer's actually set up around the corner using a 515 tip. If you want to purchase any of these items, typically these stain brushes and these tips and a lot of the accessories I use can be found on my Amazon store, on my website. My website is theidahopainter.com, so go look at my website and check out some of these accessories. Typically you can buy them less than you can buy them at a paint store or do-it-yourself box store. So here I'm going to show you, we're going to begin staining some more of this fence. So I've sprayed my stain on really heavy. Now I'm going to go back and back brush it. And when I'm staining, I want to go from however the pickets run, whether they run horizontal or vertical, you want to go with the pickets, and you also want to back brush with the pickets. And when you're spraying, don't start and stop in the middle. This fence is a vertical fence. I'm going all the way up, all the way down, and when I'm back brushing, I'm going to be back brushing all the way up and all the way down too. So you can see how I'm spraying it on, just doing a section about this much, and then going back and back brushing it right away, because the stain actually absorbs into the fence really fast, because the fence is dry wood. So you got to get enough stain on there. So I'm loading enough stain on there that I can see it's pretty heavy and pretty soaking wet with stain. Then I'm back brushing it. Then I'll move on to the next section. When I get near this house, I want to be careful with my overspray where I'm shooting it, and don't want to shoot up way high like this, because I don't want it to shoot up on the soffit. So I'm going to be really careful on this section. The pressure is pretty important too. I'm not going to be running my sprayer at full pressure, because it's going to send out a lot more overspray at full pressure. So I'm going to turn my pressure way down when I'm doing a fence, and typically around 1800 to 2000 psi. Typically when I'm doing a fence too, I like to have a 20-inch gun extension on my gun, but my guys took off to another job site and left me without a gun extension, so I'm not using a gun extension. A gun extension is going to keep you from having to bend over as much and having to reach so high. It's just going to make you work a lot less, and it's just a nice convenience when you're painting every day for years and years. It takes its toll on your body, so using a gun extension is going to help you out a lot. I got this fence all saturated with stain. Now it's going to dry. It looks like a brand new fence. You can see the comparison. Here's my fence. I used a solid color stain on this fence. Here's the new section stained, and there's an old section. You can see the big difference. Nice brand new fence.
Painting. In this video, we're going to show you how to properly stain a fence. We're starting off. We've got a 2.5 foot extension, gun extension. We're using a 310 tip, and we're using pretty low pressure on a 440 that's set up around the corner. We've in this task we've got a 3M hand masker with 1.5 inch tape, and we've used that. We've got the fence where it dead ends into a stucco house right here, and we've masked 2 rows of masking around the house so we don't get overspray on the house. And if you're uncomfortable or have little experience spraying, you probably want to put at least 3 rows of masking there so you don't get overspray on the house. And we've got cardboard shields down here. There's rock around here. We're going to try to minimize the cardboard or the overspray on the rocks, and the cardboard shields help do that. We also use the cardboard shields to minimize the overspray over the top. We've got a 2.5 gallon bucket with 2.5 inch angled sash brush and a 4-inch nap that we're also using, because when we're spraying, we're going to bring our spray up to this height and go back down so we don't send overspray to the house across the way, which is right over there, not too far away from us, and then we'll just go back and back brush and roll that. When we're actually spraying this fence, there's about a 1/4 inch gap in these pickets right here, and if you spray dead on, it's going to shed overspray through the picket, so we're going to want to be spraying at a slight angle, probably a 45-degree angle. Same if there's any big knot holes. If you spray straight through the knot hole, it's going to shoot overspray to the other side of the fence. So we start off spraying. We're just going to spray at an angle, just go up and down, and I'm not going to go quite to the top of the fence, just right back up. Down to our cardboard shield, keep it at an angle. And then we're going to do one whole section at a time. Once we complete a full length section, you got 4x4 posts that is a section. We'll just go back. We're going to back roll this top. That way we get it, and then we're going to back roll the top of the fence here too. And then we also use our brush just in case you go back. If there was any runs, any places that need to be back brushed that look really dry, we can actually back brush those spots. Same with this bottom piece down here. We're actually just restaining this fence the same color as it was before. So we're going to keep my gun at an angle, minimize the overspray through the gap. Go back the opposite direction. Use our 4-inch nap to back brush the top. Back brush this bottom piece right here. Gonna get around the post. We're in a tight space or a small alleyway. This house. You don't have as much experience spraying, you can release the trigger each time. By releasing the trigger, it actually saves product. You don't use as much product. You want to back brush, back roll the post. Any places that look dry or look like this is a smooth board right here. The smooth boards could possibly run, so we back brush them. We're using Sherwin-Williams solid color woodscapes on this fence here, and we're going to be doing the full length fence, keeping our cardboard shields down here to minimize overspray. You can come to the top if you wanted to and spray it like that. If you wanted to keep overspray from going to the opposite side, make sure you keep your pressure low, keep your tip size small. A 310 or a 510 tip would be the ideal tip. Nothing larger than a 10 for doing stains.
Today we're going to show you how we go about staining a fence and controlling overspray. You get a lot of questions how we control overspray and keeping it off the neighbors' houses and the neighbors' plants. So we're going to show you that process. We got an airless sprayer set up. We're going to run the pressure really low. We're going to be spraying a solid color stain and back brushing it. We're going to be using some simple tools like a cardboard shield holder made by Kraft to hold a cardboard shield over the top to control overspray. We're going to be using it at the bottom. We're also going to be spraying with a 30-inch gun extension of 515 tip. Always want to use a really new tip to help control overspray. So we're going to show you some of those tips and tricks, and we're going to show them to you right now, so stay tuned. So one of the most important tools when it comes to controlling overspray when spraying a fence is this tool right here. This is a Kraft cardboard shield holder, and these are cardboard shields that we've just purchased to go along with this tool. Very important tool. You can find this thing on my tool store. It's the #1 selling item I have on my tool store right here. And what we do with this thing, I like it because it easily adjusts without any tools, without any wing nuts or anything. So just moves easily. Going to be using it right here. And this is going to control the overspray from going on the other side of the fence there. And then we also use it down on the ground to keep the overspray for getting on the dirt, rocks, or grass. So you got to have this tool. Here's a couple more tips when it comes to controlling the overspray doing the fence. We always use a hand masker to mask wherever the fence will butt up to a house or anything else that we don't want to get overspray on. We use a lot of used cardboard shields to just lay along the ground or lay along rocks or concrete to control the overspray. And here's another really good tip, and this is using the Titan high efficiency airless tips, and these things will run down to 1,000 psi. So they're going to run at way lower pressures, which will give you way less overspray. Okay, now that we showed you some of the tools that we use to help control overspray, we got everything set up over here. We're going to be staining this fence. Now we're going to show you the staining and back brushing process. We spray it on with an airless sprayer so we can get it on fast and we can stain these fences fast, but then we back brush it so our stain's going to look like a professional did it and it's going to last a long time. So let's head on down here and see what John's doing and help him out.
So we're going to keep working on these fence panels, and so I'm going to show you how I guard everything with my cardboard shield. I'll go around the bottom real quick and I'll shield it as close as I can. A little bit's going to get on the dirt and a little bit's okay. We just don't want to make a big mess with that. It's all going to go away with the next rinse of the sprinklers or rain. Up top, what we're going to do is we're going to take the shield, we're going to stick it behind, but you don't want to touch the back side of the fence with the cardboard shield, or you're going to get all the stain that's on there on the back of your fence. So you just hold it about an inch or two away and try to keep it steady as you move across. So here we go. Always wear your respirator. And it's really important, if you go against the grain while you're working on a fence like this, we got to do this to get enough stain on those boards, but you got to make sure if you're going to do that you back brush right behind it so you don't have lap marks that are built up going the other way, or you'll end up seeing those after it all dries.
So I see, John, you're like staining really close to this fence over here. Mm-hmm. Or I'm not the fence, I mean this shed. This is a storage shed. I mean, that's probably only, what, 2 feet away. Are you concerned about getting overspray on that?
Not at all. No.
Really?
No, you know, it's our pressure, especially with this Titan HEA tip, it's down really low. So we've already got way less pressure than we even normally have and way less overspray than we normally have. But that overspray isn't going to float back and hit that shop unless you've got a tip that's just massive and blown out and you're putting out way more product than you need to put out. You choose the right tip size and keep things at the right pressure, you're gonna get a greater transfer rate and you're gonna get less bounce off and coming back and hitting that shed or whatever else you're trying to protect.
So John, I think you're using one of those Titan high efficiency airless tips, aren't you?
Yeah.
So so far, I can see from the video not as much overspray. What do you think?
Way less overspray. So I think Titan says up to 50% more. I think it's even more than that. So usually I wouldn't use as big of a tip as this. This is a 517. Usually I'd use a 515 and try to have less. This still has, I'd guess, about 60% less overspray than a Graco 515 would.
Hey Zach, I see you back brushing there. Why don't you tell us what the importance of back brushing is, in your own opinion?
I believe it looks way better and it lasts way longer if you back brush it in.
So it looks better and lasts longer.
And Jeff, it makes his forearms huge.
Huge.
Makes him look like Popeye.
Huge.
In this video, we've got a gate right here. We're gonna be spraying this gate. I'm gonna be painting it with some universal paint right here from Rust-Oleum. This is a metallic oil rub bronze paint, and showing you how we're actually go about setting this thing up. And we got 2 ladders right here, got an extension pole and some wire to hang this gate so we don't actually have to lay it down and flip it on buckets or something. So now we can actually just walk around, spray this gate very easily with our spray cans. And this is a self-priming product right here. It's an excellent product right here to actually spray exterior metal with. And this is, once again, an oil rub bronze color. So we're going to show you how we go about spraying this gate. And you can see here we got this really cool setup here to hang it, and now we're going to get ready to spray it. So I'm just going to get ready to start spraying this thing. Got multiple cans of this oil rub bronze, and we're going to take and make sure it's all cleaned really well. We've actually power washed it, cleaned it. We're going to just do some light sanding on it, and then we'll begin spraying it. So I'm just gonna be using a 3M sanding sponge right here to sand this gate. Now I got this gate all sanded with my medium sanding sponge, and now I'm gonna just take a cleaner right here. This is a cleaner and a deglosser, and I'm just gonna wipe down this thing and clean it really well before spraying it. This is a product right here from M1, and this stuff is just use full strength. Just gonna pour some in a 5-gallon bucket. Got myself a really clean rag, and I'm beginning cleaning it.
No, I said if Mike can't go, and I should go. No correlations between any of them and the dialect. She said it's real. Yeah. Yeah. I do that every day. Yeah. Me too. And they've got to find their own way. But I love that. Luke had been married.
All right, so I decided my dad has a bunch of awesome workers here who have been painting and are surrounded by painting objects like paint, paintbrushes, saran wrap, okay, not saran wrap, whatever that masking stuff is called.
So a few tips when you're actually spraying this gate, I'm actually spraying it with these spray cans, and if you watch, I'm not actually releasing the trigger on the spray can because it'll cause spits, and this is a metallic finish, and you want it to actually gel out, not have spits, and you want it to just be a continuous spray, and your actual gate will look a lot better, and you won't have what we have like dry feathers or like overlap marks. I'm trying to spray it all continuously, get it to gel out. Also, another tip, use a mask. Get a lot of overspray in the air. You don't want to breathe this stuff because you're spraying quite a few. I'm going to go through about 4 cans on this. I got drop cloths on the ground because there's going to be a lot of fallout coming onto the grass. The first time you mow the grass, it'll be gone anyways, but it's just better not to get overspray on the customer's grass. But watch as I spray this thing, and the technique I'm using, I'm not spraying it, releasing the trigger. I'm spraying it continuously without releasing it.
Photo vomit or something. My house. My gate. When I say I don't want to make a video, it's like I really mean that.
So there you have it. The gate is all done now.
We've got Journeyman John with me today. Today we've got another project. It's an iron fence back here, decorative iron fence at the entrance of this house, and don't mind all the cotton flying around. That's the cottonwood trees. Today we're going to show you what it looks like painting that and how we go about doing it. In the years past, we used to use an airless sprayer, which was a big pain in the neck.
Yes.
It used a whole lot more product. About how much more product than an HVLP sprayer?
Oh, about 300% more product.
About 300%, that's a good estimate. And it had a whole lot of overspray. We had to worry about plants. We had to worry about, concrete the ground, everything. And we used to just use drop cloths. Somebody would stand behind there with a 210 tip and spray it, and the drop cloths would just get ruined. It was the big mess, and you would breathe, product all day long. About 2 to 3 years ago, we started using an HVLP sprayer, and it's made our life a whole lot easier. Yeah. So today, what have we got? We've got a Titan Cap Spray 105 today.
One of these bad boys.
And we usually use a 115, but we're testing out the 105 today. And we've noticed that you've got to release the trigger a little bit more.
Yeah, so when it comes to what kind of turbine, I guess, that you're looking at getting, one of the big differences between like a 115 and something like a 105 is the amount of turbines actually in the unit, and therefore the amount of air that it can push. So a 115 I know is a 6-stage turbine. I can't remember for sure, but I think a 105 is either a 4 or a 5-stage. So you're getting less air. It can still push acrylic product through your HVLP. You're just going to have to give it more time to keep filling that cup up, and you're going to notice you're going to lose some of your pressure a lot faster.
Not a big deal. We've already been spraying some of it. We've been working around it, and it's been working just fine. Here's our setup. This is our setup typically now that we use for almost everything with an HVLP sprayer. Remote pot. We got a remote pot right here. This is Titan's Cap Spray remote pot, and you can hold more product. That's one of the benefits versus a cup gun. So you could have the cup attached on here, but the other benefit is you can spray upside down now, and that's a big benefit, especially when doing these iron fences if they go all the way down to the ground, because now you can reach, get underneath the fence, and you don't have to worry about sucking air. So here's the system. John usually just has this thing hooked onto his belt. I usually just hook it to my pocket, and there you go. You do have to thin the product though, and how much do we thin in our product today?
So today we're using Sherwin-Williams multi-surface acrylic from their Pro Industrial line. That product, in order to get it to run through an HVLP, we reduce it 25% with latex extender. You could thin it with water. I always feel better just using extender. I feel like it degrades the product a little bit less, and that's going to allow it to flow through the HVLP without getting that gummy kind of cottage cheese eggshelly look coming out.
25%, 2.5. So we're using the multi-surface acrylic, which we've become accustomed to using because it's a great product.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It was designed for surfaces, buildings and stuff where you hide reach, where you can't clean them thoroughly, and the stuff will just stick to anything, dirt and all. They've even done testing, it'll stick to WD-40, we've been told. Yeah. So we really like it. It performs really, really well. On this iron fence, we don't have any rusting issues, so we don't have to deal with rust. So the multi-surface acrylic is going to go right on top of the surface that we got right now. No primer needed. So we're going to set this thing up. It's very simple. We got a little bit of masking. This thing has very, very little overspray. You can dial your pattern into a very, very small pattern, where an airless sprayer, the smallest pattern, even with on a 110, is going to be significantly bigger than this and significantly more overspray. We're not going to have to worry about plants. We're not going to have to worry about, you know, the concrete, the ground. It's all safe. No overspray is going to get on it. It just shoots a little fine mist. So here we go. Let's show you what it looks like right now.
So the benefit, like Chris said, to an HVLP gun is the ability to adjust that pattern down as tight as you want it and with as much material coming out depending on what you're spraying. So right now I've got this set all the way off, and we're going to go through the process with Zach, and he's going to go through figuring out how big of a pattern, how much air, and how much material, because those are all things that are going to vary depending on the product you're using and the thing you're spraying. You ready? Aha. All right.
Ready.
So the settings that we have on this Maxim Elite gun is down here. You're going to have your material setting. So basically it's going to change as how far back you can pull that trigger. This is going to control your air setting. And then up here, your nozzle, you have two settings. You can decide how big you want your fan by twisting and untwisting this black ring on the nozzle. And then you can change what your fan looks like with the, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's an air cap coming off the front, and you can create a fan that's vertical, horizontal, or if you switch it diagonal, it'll give you an oval pattern. So what kind of pattern do we want, Zach?
I think we should go with the oval pattern.
Let's go with an oval pattern.
Good suggestion.
I'm gonna turn it on, ready?
Or a good guess.
I think it's working. Suction?
Yeah. As long as we're keeping it cooked.
Well, we're all done painting our iron fence, and it's time to clean up now. So any final thoughts do you have to wrap this up, John? We got Zach spraying, and he sprayed this whole thing. Got all the iron fence everywhere. I don't know, he's been an hour, a couple hours, 2 hours probably?
2 hours at the most.
2 hours at the most spraying all his fencing, so
yeah.
There you go.
You know, one of the stories that we tell over and over again is about a big pool fence that we did. That it ended up taking 14 gallons of DTM to try to spray that with an airless sprayer. If we were to do the same job with an HVLP, it would take 3 gallons instead of 14 gallons. So
yep.
This is the kind of tool that for a job like this can really save you some money and a lot of time.
Yep, and it'll save you with headaches of overspray too. And notice in the video, you're probably gonna see a lot of like what we call vapor in the air and stuff. It's gonna look like overspray, but none of this stuff, none of the plants were covered in stuff. As when we inspected the plants, you know, closely,
even a foot away, there was no overspray on the plants at all. So it's not a concern for overspray when you're using an HVLP sprayer. But what you're seeing up in the air is just water vapor, and if there is any atomized paint that gets up in the air, it flash dries extremely fast, and when it lands on the surface, it's just dust, and the dust will just sweep away.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Some tips and tricks painting an iron fence. One thing about painting I want to just say real quick too is when you're spraying it, if you're in the sun, in the heat, it's ideal to do it in the cool of the morning in the shade, so it gels out, so you don't get flashing on the fence. But you just got to try to spray and watch your overlaps, watch it gel out so you don't get any flashing. But once again, in the evening time, in the morning time is probably a good idea when to do it. So you can't always do that. So there's another freebie. Anyways, anything else, John? Is that it?
Cleanup's a breeze. We're just gonna run, we're gonna empty the product out. We're gonna rinse out the inside of the cup with a hose. We're gonna fill it with water, shake it around, run some of that water out, dump it out, and we're gonna be good to go.
There you have it. How to stain a fence professionally, or how we actually go about staining or painting a fence to get really amazing looking results. Now, staining fences, if you're a professional painter, doing it right and doing it properly, it costs a lot of money. And usually a lot of do-it-yourselfers or homeowners, when they see the cost of painting a fence, are like, holy cow. But if you want it to be done and done properly, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of product. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you have any questions or comments about how much it costs to stain a fence, just leave it down in the questions and comments below, and I will try to give you an idea what we charge here in Boise, Idaho when it comes to staining or painting a fence. But anyways, we got to get going.